I'm glad you know what you're doing.
Do you know, I sometimes wonder. I don't know if anybody's with us yet. I think we're live. I'm just going to check on the page and do a quick refresh.
I can see that we're live.
Yeah. There may be a slight delay on that. So I might have to mute it on that end. Yeah.
I've got my laptop muted, but I've put it up just in case people type and we have to type. I didn't know if we had to type back or something.
Yeah. It's okay. That's fine. There'll be comments once people are on.
Yeah. I don't know, will it show us as being there? I don't know if that will confuse the issue that, you know, if because I'm on my phone, will it confuse the issue if I'm on my laptop? I don't know.
No.
Right.
It shouldn't really be a problem.
You're more technical minded than me.
I'm just typing in onto the event now. To say we are live now on the Molly Madly Deeply page.
I've got a Circle of Doom on my laptop.
Have you?
Yeah.
Well, that's a bit disappointing. So I'm in a bit of a quandary as to what to knit for baby Tyson. For anyone that doesn't know, Emma and I were just chatting about my niece Shana has had a little boy today. Hasn't got a first name yet, so he's just being called baby Tyson because that's their last name.
Not his first name.
Well, it could be Tyson.
Grow up to be a boxer or something.
Yeah, let's hope they don't pick Michael.
You don't fancy doing another one of those baby sweaters again then? Second round, you know, it might be
Oh, no.
No? You don't think it'll improve on a second knit?
I sincerely doubt it. Well, unless I rewrite the pattern to be either a raglan or a yoke.
Well, why don't you do that? And then there you go, you've got something else sorted.
Oh, life's too short.
Oh, right.
Life's too short. So, can we share this?
No, is it sharing?
I think I can share on my timeline.
Cool.
We're live. Thank you. And A on the Wally.
Yay.
We'll see who joins us. I don't know if we're a little early for Andrea or any of the others.
I think Andrea said she couldn't make it.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, I think she posted in the after party that she wasn't going to make it today.
Okay. I wasn't sure whether we should answer Helen's question or wait for her to arrive. But Helen has posted a question about the underarms of sweaters and round the thumbs of mittens and gloves and things. So we were joking about a baby cardigan that I've made for another niece's baby who's asked for everything to be in greys and purples and blues. This is the cardigan, and if you've watched our YouTube video, you'll have heard me moaning about the fact that it's a hybrid garment that is a yoke and a raglan, and you have to pick up the front yoke, and it tells you to pick up 17 when you've only got 14 stitches to work with, and it's just pig awkward to make it neat. But it does have a couple of wee tiny holes under the arms. Can you see that? Okay. Is that clear? So if you can see trying to figure out which is the best way to turn now. If you can see the blue yarn, I've basically used duplicate stitch, which I would have done in the grey, obviously, if I didn't want you to be able to see it.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's You can see that now.
I
So
can see
that's covered those
it, yeah.
little holes. And the other thing that you can do, if you've got a visible hole on the inside, is what I'll do is I'll pick up these little pearl bumps on the back of the work.
Yeah.
You see that where I'm going round the hole?
Yeah, I can
I've
see
just
that.
picked up the pearl bumps around the little hole, and then you pull the yarn through. I've got a little end there, so I can.
Yeah.
Where is it? Trying to figure out which bit. So I've gone around these
Around where
little
the
pearl
hole
bumps
is.
here. That's the hole. I've gone around there, and I can snug back into my seam. So I've got this funny little loop around the offending bit,
Yeah.
and I can snug that up and pull it tight. When I turn it round to the other side, which is the opposite side to the bit that I duplicate stitched, there's not I don't think there's actually a hole now, is there? There's a tiny little bit there where perhaps I need to have a look at the seam rather than the armhole, but it's pulled that little hole shut.
You'd have to look really, really closely to see that.
Yeah. But what I could do is a photo tutorial or maybe a video tutorial to show that in more detail. But I'm sure I'll be able to find a very good tutorial on YouTube that we can show people or link to.
Yeah.
Not sure I see the value in doing things a million times.
No.
And even with my contrast yarn, it's virtually invisible on the side where I've snugged round, and I've just picked up those little pearl bumps. On the other side where I've duplicate stitched, then obviously that needs to be in the corresponding yarn.
And then you wouldn't see anything at all.
Yeah, I mean, you can hide a multitude of sins that way. And I've got...
And that works on socks as well, because sometimes people say they get the little hole when they're picking up around the heel on the socks, and you can do the same thing.
Yeah.
Can't you?
Yeah, I mean, you can preempt it and pick up more stitches, but you do have to be quite careful as to where you pick up your stitches, because if you're picking up in sort of this vertical part of the armhole, it's that connection from the slope to going straight again where you typically get these little bits of holes.
Yeah.
And what people do is they see a gap between the stitches that are picked up or on hold for the sleeve and where they've picked up for the armhole, and they're going to join, and they start going into just any old hole basically to try and fill the gap, and you can end up creating larger holes because you picked up something that could just be cinched shut later. I think just I do this. This is on Ileus, and it's Sublime Luxurious Tweed.
Ooh.
Now, I didn't actually have the issue with this because it was a set-in sleeve and it was all seamed. So I did it as I went. But you'll see that you cannot seam with this yarn. It falls apart. So I've just got some cheap acrylic, acrylic that I've used for all of the sleeve seams and any cinching in that needed to be done. And the only time I've used the original yarn is on the inside of the collar. I don't know if you can see where it's just a slip stitch that folded collar down on the inside.
Brilliant.
But then I had to have 5 or 6 lengths of yarn because you do half a dozen stitches and it breaks.
Oh, nightmare.
Yeah. So
the good old acrylic, eh?
Well, it is a good workhorse and it is washable. I mean, thankfully, the Sublime Luxurious Tweed double knit is washable. It is machine washable. And for all it's quite hard on the hand while you're knitting, it does soften up and bloom really well. In fact, I've got a cardigan. It's in a box in the naughty corner. I'm not talking to it because we might we might have had a moth that got it. Honestly, it's like international rescue in this house if we see moths, because everybody leaps into action. It's protect the wall. You know, and it, murder, death, kill of these moths.
Brilliant.
You'll see them splattered all over the place. But they did get onto the collar of my cardigan, and it's one of those rare occasions like this one where you do the collar and then do the button bands. Generally, I like to do the button bands and then the collar.
Right, okay.
But the pattern said do it the other way, and I did it that way, and they've chewed the back of the collar, so I may have to take all of the bands off.
Oh no, what a nightmare.
And re-knit the bands. So it's in a box with some cedar balls.
Yeah.
To repel any other nasties that might be around.
Let's hope you just trap the moth in there with it.
Oh.
It'll be thinking it's Christmas.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? So what are you working on the sleeve for your stitch cardigan?
Yes, I am on sleeve number 2. That's in Roman felted tweed. So I finished the first one. I have a new bag. Do you want to see my new bag?
Oh, go on.
You won't be able to read that, but it says, it became apparent that she had become too fond of her stitching and that it had turned her brain to knit. Which I actually really love. From Kelly Connor Designs again. All my bags seem to be from Kelly Connor.
I really love hers.
Yeah, she's fab. So I finished the first sleeve.
Yeah.
And as I did say, it is scraps of yarn. So it's lots and lots of different colours. So we go from like a turquoisey to a blue. And then I even had to use just a tiny, tiny little bit of like a burnt orange at the top. So that's on a couple of stitch holders for the underarm and the rest. And now I'm doing number 2.
Right.
And then I shall attach those when they're done.
And then play around with the yoke shaping and all of those things. Yeah,
it's all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Be really nice though.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to wearing it. I think it'd be lovely and warm. But it's quite slow going because it's on 3mm needles, so
right.
It just seems to be taking quite a while.
What
have you got there?
This is a cowl. I used part of the stitch pattern in the silk and sparkle wrap that went in Knit Now quite a few years ago. Can you see that?
Yeah. That is beautiful.
There's this sort of foxglove. It's a lilac. It's definitely not a blue. It looks blue on there.
It does look a bit.
And you've got this sort of dusty cerise pink, my kind of muted pink. My bathroom's actually that colour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? It is slightly cool, but it works really well because it's soft muted. It's one I can get away with, and I look really good in the bathroom because all of the walls are this muted pink.
So anytime you need a photo, just into the bathroom we go.
Yeah, frequently dash into the bathroom for photographs, which everybody else is annoying. So put your camera away.
I want to use the bathroom.
Yeah, so it was one of those where I was thinking, oh, do I need to play around with the repeat because it's a 13 stitch repeat? And I thought, oh, is anybody going to think that's unlucky? And I thought, oh, stuff that, because it's my mum's lucky number.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of 13. It's funny, isn't it? 14, I love 14 because that's my wedding anniversary, so everything's 14 in our house.
So one of those where I never really worried about it. Mum just always said 13 was lucky, so Colin and I never argued it. Colin, for anyone that doesn't know, is my younger brother by about 19 months, and it's his elder daughter that's had the baby today. So he's celebrating being granddad.
Is it his first?
It is, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 5 kids, 3 from this marriage, Shana, Megan and Tyler.
So probably won't be the last then.
It won't be. It's the first of the grandkids for them, and it's my third time as a great aunt.
You seem to have had a lot recently.
Yeah, lots of nieces. The cousin thing gets a bit more complicated because I've got lots of cousins who are considerably younger than I am, being the eldest child of the eldest of my grandparents' kids, and my dad is, I mean, he's the eldest, and the youngest is our Tracy. Well, Tracy's my auntie.
Right.
And she and I are the same age by 3 months. She was born on Christmas Day, and I was born on the 24th of March.
Right.
So we were at school together, and
Yeah.
everybody mixed up our names and all of that. It was just ridiculously complicated and really silly. But of course, she's got children, and they're my cousins.
Yeah.
They've got kids. So I don't know, are they second cousins, first cousins? What are they?
I think your
Really
cousins'
not sure.
children are your second cousins, are they? I'm not sure.
I think it's second cousins, but I really can't tell.
Just call them all cousins. It's fine. Nobody minds.
Oh, a shout out to Michelle. She says she's knitting up her hat whilst watching us.
Oh,
And she's sat with mother. So hello, Michelle's mum.
Oh, hi, Michelle. I can't see the comments. Are they?
I've got another page open on Facebook. You might want to open another tab. And Helen says, thanks, ladies, for the answer. I'm going to watch later. A small person toilet emergency just as you started.
See.
So there you are. Helen Gypsy is there. Hi, Helen. That's Scrabble Poo from Ravelry. She says she can see us both. Lovely to have you there.
Brilliant. Hello, Helen. My Arthur keeps trying to get in on the action as well, actually. He keeps bringing his really noisy ball in. So if you hear some weird noises, it will probably be Arthur.
I did get a question the other day. You know, I'm running a test knit for a cowl at the moment, and somebody was asking about provisional cast on, and a lot of people are frightened of it. I mean, there's loads of ways to do it, and one of the Helens who's watching us at the moment said to me the other day that she just basically casts on with some other yarn, works another couple of rows, and then carries on in the yarn she's going to use, and then takes the other off later. And that's a lovely, easy way to do it with no stress.
Yeah.
But to be honest, a lot of the time, depending on what you're making, you can sometimes just get away with the traditional cast on and start knitting and then join with a graft or something, or a 3 bind off leg.
If you've got nice neat graft, and I have started using the spare cable needle. I used to do a crochet chain,
right,
and then cast on into the crochet chain and then take it out. But I found that sometimes I didn't pick a good enough wool, and I'd end up losing stitches all over the place, and it would just drive me absolutely bonkers. So it takes a bit longer to actually get your head around it and get the cast on done. But once it's done, it's done. And then you just literally flip it round and away you go at the end.
Well, it's so easy, isn't it? Because you've already got a working cable.
Yeah.
With
just
your needle, and you're good to go.
Yeah, definitely.
So for me, I do love a provisional cast on.
I do, yeah.
I must admit, I find it difficult with the crochet hook. I don't know if it's a spatial issue in that I just don't seem to be able to get my head around it. It feels like I'm holding a lot of stuff, and I don't know. It just feels awkward. Maybe I need to try it more.
Maybe, yeah.
Make an effort with it. Yeah.
But you can crochet a lot better than I can, so I don't know. You'd have thought, wouldn't you, that
you would think, yeah, you would think. And I'll do a crochet chain provisional cast on, but I do crochet quite tightly for my chain.
Yeah.
Not from once I get into it, I'm quite relaxed, but the chain I seem to be really tight. So if it says chain, 26 with the 3.5 mil hook, I'll probably use a 5 mil hook.
That different?
Yeah, it honestly, it really is, and it makes a big difference. I would rather have it slightly loosey goosey later on, because I can always deal with that.
Yeah.
Than if it's too tight knit
Are you
pucker.
tense? Are you there like?
I think I possibly am. Oh, Tanya's here, knitting at Switzerland. She says,
Hi,
hello,
Tanya.
lovely ladies, knitting on my orange sweater while I listen to you. So hello, Tanya.
Oh, nice to see you, Tanya.
Yeah.
Is that for the garment along, the jumper? Because I think Tanya's doing one for garment along, isn't she?
She is, yeah.
Having a nice little sip of my adult beverage. It's all right, Michelle. I'll be fine for the morning.
Well, yeah, you do need to be in a fit state for your park run. Don't want to miss your park run just because we were busy drinking. I was like, I'm just on tea. But
I think I'm all teed out today. I've had so much tea. I couldn't face another one.
Yeah, sometimes it's just not what you want, is it?
No, definitely
What we
not.
got? So just checking to see if we've got any other notifications. No, nothing fresh on that.
No more questions.
What do I think we have? I mean, what's the most frequent thing that people ask you when you go to knitting group?
It's been so long since I've been, to be honest. I didn't even manage to get this week to go, being half term. I was hoping that I was going to, but
that would have been good, wouldn't it?
It would have been nice, but I went out for the day with Callum instead. So that was equally nice, but and I won't get to go in March either. April for Easter, because the hubster will be home.
Right.
So I think it's going to be June before I get to go back to knitting group.
Oh, good grief.
Yeah.
That's quite a while, isn't it? I must admit, I don't really attend one locally anymore. I don't know if there's still one at Forge Park in Ulverston. I used to go to that.
Yeah.
And there used to be one at Natterjack's, it's a hotel guest house, and they've got a really nice cafe, and Rob O'Hara runs that, and they're always extremely welcoming. But I think at this time of year for me, it's going out in the dark after I've got comfy in my pajamas and I've got my knitting and the witch is on and I've got Henry Cavill and I could just.
Why would you want to go out?
Exactly. Does the girl really need anything else?
I don't think so.
Oh, we've got another one. So, Donna and Christine have just liked that we're live. Hopefully they'll pop across and watch in a little while.
Nice to see people joining in.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody who's watching saw the YouTube video, but just to prove that I have sleeves.
Wow, have you got two sleeves on one
Two
garment?
sleeves attached to the garment, but you'll see that I still haven't woven in any ends.
Yeah, but that might be a step too far. We can't ask everything.
Got to finish the cuff. You'll see there I've used acrylic yarn for my seaming, grey acrylic.
I love it. Brilliant. But you've been just knitting up a cowl storm recently.
Yeah, I do seem to have made an awful lot of cowls. Thankfully, the first one's in testing, and this one, once I've finished the sort of prototype, I need to figure out how much length I would like to add to this. I think it's probably about right.
Yeah, that's
lovely. Of length. What I might do is just work till I've got a couple of yards left of this, enough to graft, and then do the graft.
Looks like a nice. Once you sort of get into the rhythm, you can just sit and keep going.
Yeah, it's is it all of 6 rows, I think. Yeah, 2, 4, 6. And I did a little bit of a cheat when I changed colour. I don't know if you can see that. What I did was I got to where am I going? Here.
Yeah.
Where it should be pearls.
Right.
On the first row of the new colour, I knitted those and I just slipped some stitch markers either side.
Yeah.
So that I didn't just purl across on my return row. because I needed to knit 4 stitches, or was it, yeah, 4 stitches for that section. So just on the colour change, it would normally have 2 rows with the 4 stitches in the centre of the sort of V shape that the cable creates.
Yeah.
But you knit those so that you don't get the oddly coloured purl bumps that have half of one colour and half.
Yeah, it just looks really bizarre, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I just thought that was easier. So it would have looked like that
Like
on the
that,
front.
yeah, you don't want that on the front.
Yeah.
Do you?
And I just wanted it to be neat, which I'm probably just a bit fussy like that. And I'm debating whether to knit it again and put these 2 stitches on either side for like an I-cord edge.
Oh, that'd look quite nice, actually.
Yeah, just to tidy up. I'm not going to rip out and do this one again because
No.
I this.
Yeah.
And get it steam blocked and all the rest of it. And blocking, of course, will flatten out the cable pattern quite nicely with that.
Yeah. Oh, hopefully we'll be able to see that finish soon.
Yeah, I should get that finished tonight and hopefully live tomorrow.
You knit so fast.
I purl a lot faster.
It's like you always say to me, "Oh yeah, look at this I've done," and I look at mine and I go, "Oh, I've done about 1 centimetre, and you've done a whole finished object."
Yeah, but then if you came to my house, I wouldn't have done any cleaning at all. But I always say to people, if you come here, you have to visit me. Don't be. No, I'm not. I'm not interested in anyone who wants to come and does the white glove over the top of my skybox to see whether it's dusty. When I can write lazy cow on it, it's time to dust.
It's not that you're being lazy. You've got more important things to do, and
I've
it'll
just got
still
different priorities. Different priorities, and
exactly.
I just think back to when Jake was a baby. You know, you've got a baby in the house or a youngster in the house. Isn't it more important to spend time with them and just enjoy your life and not stress about it? I do hoover every day.
I hoover every day because of the dog.
Yeah, there's not much choice when you've got 2 Labradors, because if I didn't, I would have enough spare hair to build 2 more dogs.
Oh, it's just ridiculous, isn't it?
I don't know how they've got any fur on them, the amount that they lose.
And you only have to look at them and they start shedding it all over the place, let alone touch them.
Oh, Tanya says yay for 2 sleeves. Thank you, Tanya. There is a bit of a lag for us to see the comments.
Sleeve achievement.
So yeah, I am very pleased. Thank you. And she says she loves that trick, such a near the colour change by doing the knits across.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Helen Curzon says, another question, what's your favourite trick for neat edges? I've got some patterns that say slip the first stitch, some the last, purl-wise or knit-wise. I think that depends on the piece. Yeah. If it's going to be a scarf or a cowl or something like that, so a cowl like this where you're working it, we're essentially working sideways, aren't we? We're making a length, joining it into a loop. And if you slip the stitches on this, it's not going to make any difference. But if you were to slip the first stitch of every row on the side of a cardigan that you've then got to pick up button bands on, you're not necessarily going to be able to pick up enough stitches, particularly if your bands are going to be in ribbing. If it's ribbed bands, or sometimes you get a stockinette band with a purl that's folded over.
Yeah.
You need to be able to pick up on a straight or vertical edge 2 out of 3 stitches at least. And if you've got an angle like a V-neck or a curved neck area or something like that, I like to 3 or 4. You can cook up. Someone's chewing a yogurt pot. Thank you very much, Labradors, for your kind assistance. But it would be very difficult to pick up the right number of stitches if you'd slip a stitch of every row, whether it's with the yarn in the back or yarn in the front or whatever, to give that sort of, it's not an I-cord, but it feels a little bit like that. If it's a chunky cowl or something like that, I like to slip the first couple of stitches, either of every row or the first and last of the resting row, the wrong side row.
Right.
So that all my slipping is on one row.
Yeah.
And then in between, I just follow the pattern, knit the knits, purl the purls. And I'm not really having to think too much. And then on the front side where I've got pattern and other things going on, I'm not then thinking, oh God, did I slip those two stitches? Because it isn't happening on that round. It just spreads the work a little bit.
The headband that I just did, it's the first time I've knitted flat in quite a while because I do like to knit in the round. And I tried to slip the first stitch and I just didn't like how it looked, actually, to be honest. And I pulled it out and started again.
It can look a bit loosey-goosey.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan.
Yeah,
So I pulled it.
which is why I prefer to slip two if I can.
Right, okay.
Or three if I want more of an I-cord effect.
Yeah.
Then I would do it that way. And that's very, very easy to do, and it does give a lovely finish to an edge if it's going to be a piece where you're not picking up stitches afterwards. That's the thing. What I should say is, if you were going to pick up the front and the bands and all the rest of it, and it was going to be in garter stitch, absolutely slip the first stitch for every row, because you pick up one stitch for every two.
Yeah.
On garter, up until you get to, say, the back neck, where you would pick up every stitch of the back neck.
Yeah.
As an example, because that's worked across. But when you're working on a vertical edge, where you're picking up for a garter band, so we've got a piece like that, and we're picking up off this edge, and this is a garter piece. We've slipped the first stitch of every row. Then we would just pick up every edge stitch for our garter stitch, and that will be lovely and flat and work really well. But only for garter or moss stitch or seed stitch, whatever you want to call it, because they're wider than a piece of stockinette.
Yes. I'm not a fan of the seed stroke moss stitch.
No, I lose my place.
I don't have the patience for all that moving the yarn.
That's the difficulty, isn't it? And I get to the point where I'm sort of several inches in and I've got stripes of rib.
Yeah.
Instead of moss stitch.
I'm just that bad with rib. When I was doing the cuff on here, I had to pull a whole row out because I'd automatically gone into stocking stitch again instead of ribbing. I really need to concentrate more. I am just so used to sitting and not thinking about what I'm doing, and my hands just doing their own thing.
Is this because you've been doing your sweaters and sort of sweater bodies are kind of forever, aren't they?
Yeah, I have been doing a lot of just knit in the round for, I would say, the past year, really, to be honest. I haven't done much else. And I need to retrain my brain. I think I'll have to get some cables out or something.
Are you working magic loop on that piece?
I am, yeah.
Michelle says, can you explain how to do the magic loop on circular needles? Well, Emma's your girl, because she's knitting something that way now.
Oh, goodness me. Right. How to explain it? Oh, I am an absolute nightmare explaining it. Right, so I've got my my sleeve is on my needles here, and I've just got them like hanging out at the end there. Can we see that?
Yeah.
So the way I do it is I would just kind of fold it in half and then pull my cable right out like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then with the needle that is closest to me, that's the one I'm going to push right in, because those are the stitches I'm going to be working on.
Yeah.
And then the needle at the back, I pull that one out, because this is the one that's going to come round and the stitches are going to go on there. And then your working yarn is at the back over there, and you just start knitting. And you have your 2 loops on either end. Does that make
either
sense?
side of it. It's probably worth noting as well, depending on whether you're knitting or purling, when you've got the needles, obviously I've got straights here, but the principle is the same, and you're pulling it and moving that from the back to the front. If you're knitting, you need to remember to go under that needle, because otherwise you end up with yarn that goes over the top and becomes like a little hostage or an extra stitch when you knit your way back round, and you're thinking, hang on a minute, I've got too many. And that's just, be aware of what stitch you're working in. Pull the yarn under the needle you're about to work with if you're going to knit.
Yeah. Or the opposite way if you're going to purl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it's very difficult to explain things that you just automatically do. Because you just go into automatic mode, don't you? And your hands are doing their own little thing, and it's, yeah, you have to think about it. And I've had a little bit of the wine as well, so it's a bit difficult to try and put my words in a sentence.
Well, I'm still on tea, so I'm good to go.
Have you not run out yet?
No, I haven't yet. I'm still okay.
Excellent.
And I'm still purling away. I should maybe lift that up. Oh, Michelle says thank you that she actually got that.
Oh, fab.
Brilliant. I think it does help if somebody's actually got a piece of knitting in front of you and you can kind of see it live.
Yeah.
I think that does make a difference. But we'll look at doing some tutorials and little hints and tricks.
Fiddly when you've got little, like only a small amount of stitches. A lot of people do move on to the double pointed needles, but I'm still not a fan. I would rather do magic loop on just 2 stitches rather than get the double pointed needles out. I'm terrible.
Maybe we can talk about needle choice for a moment, because I've always got tons of things on the go that they're either in, like the orangey coloured cardigan I showed you, which I've finished the sleeves recently. That's been in the box since January of last year, because I don't like knitting sleeves. And they're top down and it's short rows, and it's a technique I can do. I'm very familiar with it. It's not hard. All the instructions are in the pattern. Super duper easy. But I am not fast at just knitting around. If I knit and purl, I'll work more quickly.
Okay.
So I sat down with my calculator and my sort of sleeve cap shaping and worked out how to do the sleeve from the bottom up. Taking her instructions from how many stitches you end up with, working out increases the opposite way around, and then working on the cap shaping. And they fit perfectly, and I have to say I'm really pleased now that I've set them in. And because I don't know if you use Sublime Luxurious Tweed, but it's a lovely tweedy yarn. It's infamous for large amounts of vegetable matter, which drives me bananas. I felt that every couple of yards I was pulling a bit out, and sometimes I was having to break the yarn and rejoin again because it's taken so much out of the strand. But once it's done, it's joyous. But the fact that I was able to seam it with a more stable yarn and give it that stability, I'm glad I put it to one side and left it. Yeah. And I've got so many sweaters where I've sort of fallen over at the sleeves, because I really don't like doing them. I just don't. And if I could work everything so that I could do the body top down and knit the sleeves bottom up, and I could work them flat so that I can knit them twice as fast and work it that way, then I think it would be much easier for me to do. But that's just me. I'm obviously just a bit weird.
Well, isn't that why you design your own knitting patterns? Shouldn't you be designing your own ones to work that way? And then you don't need to do that.
Someone was asking me what pooling was the other day, and I've got an interesting example. We christened this purpling rather than pooling. And you can see from here where I've actually striped every 2 rounds with Malabrigo Rios, but for some reason it's just got these purpley patches. on the rest of the garment, can you see that? I've
Yeah.
actually managed to avoid the pooling by sometimes doing 1 round, 2 rounds, or 3 rounds, or even joining in a third ball and doing 2, 2, and 2. Do it that way.
But I
Just
really
break
like
it up.
it.
I love it that it's at the shoulder, but had it
Yeah.
been on the boobage, somewhere like this where it looks a bit like a target,
Yeah.
or perhaps on the tummy where I maybe don't want you to look
You
as
don't
much.
want that, no.
Yeah, it's just a case of being careful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Being
Oh,
aware of it.
oh, my dog wants to play ball. It's not a good time, darling.
You're so mean.
I know. I'm sorry, dog. So
Oh.
is that one? I'm sure you were knitting the sleeves for that other jumper, weren't you? Is
I have picked up, but I haven't done anything on it this
right.
week.
Okay.
It's my sat on the sofa project, but then I had to take Jake into Ulverston the other day because he wanted a haircut and some other bits, and
Yeah.
needed to nip into the shops and do some errands. So we called in on the way back after I've been to see my parents, and he's disappeared off to the Turkish barbers to get his hair cut and his bum fluff done.
Yeah.
Look at all of that sorted, all the man stuff at the
Yeah.
barbers. So I might have wandered into the market hall to see Pat on the wool stall, just cause,
As you do. Yeah. It just happens, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Let me just get rid of that. Why is it everybody wants to phone when you're busy with something? So what Pat had done is she was using up leftover yarn just to kind of highlight the colours
Oh.
and it was just special double knit, Starcraft special double knit. It wasn't anything fancy or anything else. But she'd had little leftovers yarns and sat with one of those pom-pom makers and done this
Yeah.
and made pom-poms and then crocheted a little square and stitched the pom-pom to it.
All right.
She had about 8 different colours. And I was looking, doesn't that look really good? And it actually, I think the colour's called Rose. I've probably got some balls kicking around if anybody wants to see. But there was Rose and there's a colour called Storm Blue, which is sort of a tealy, bluey green. And the two of those looked absolutely brilliant together. And the one colour that she didn't do, that when I went round to then look at the sort of wall of yarn of all the special DK colours, was one called Blush. And I'm desperate now to do something with Storm Blue and Blush, if you would like to see those two together. Shall I grab them?
Interesting.
I'll go and grab.
Yeah. Have you got them handy? Oh no, I'm on my own. Do I have to cover the silence? Oh look, here she is. She's back. Hurrah!
You can just knit because we're just a bunch of friends knitting.
Oh wow.
Look, Blush is sort of a peachy.
Yeah,
Way.
I'm not a pink fan.
I'm not really good at this. It's a peachy, warm, more pale coral. But I thought I'd have a play with that with some colour work.
That Storm is definitely my kind of colour though.
It's really lovely. I've done a lot of crochet with that and thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And if anybody would like to see the blanket I've just crocheted for baby Tyson, who arrived today, then just say in the chat and I'll go and grab that and you can see what I've done so far.
Every time you talk about baby Tyson, I just imagine this little boxer baby.
No, I should do your baby Rocky set.
So funny. I don't know why. I mean, Tyson is a normal name. I know we have a boxer called Tyson, but I don't know. I suppose it's because there's two. There's Tyson Fury, Mike Tyson.
Yeah, possibly. I'm not really into the boxing. I did watch it years ago, but more the Barry McGuigan, the featherweights, because they're fast.
Frank Bruno.
Oh, I didn't mind Frank Bruno. He was always quite sweet,
Henry
wasn't he?
Cooper.
Yes. And he's brute, I have to say. Doesn't that date us? My goodness.
Yeah, showing our age there.
It does. Right, I'll pick up my yarn again. So this is what I've got left. I've not got many rows worth left, I don't think.
No, I think you'll be
One.
finished soon. So
Yeah.
I noticed that you are on straight needles under your arms.
Yeah.
I know a few ladies who knit like that. I admit to never using my straight needles at all anymore, even when I'm knitting flat. Always circular needles now.
I do like circulars, and I have lots of them. I could show you my toolbox.
I'm sure
which is massive and it's stuffed to the gunnels with needles. And you know the big Sports Direct mugs that they did years ago about this size?
Huge, yeah.
I've got 4 of those on the kitchen window, and they are crammed with bamboo and metal straight needles. I tend to use straights if I'm going to be doing more purling, because I just find it easier. I can armpit knit and get up a bit of speed.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, my needle choice is driven entirely by if all of my 4 or 5 mil circulars, and that's the size that I need, are all full of work in progress or the things I'm knitting, then I will pick up a pair of straights and work with straights, or just find something else to do with it. So it's not out of any great preference. It's about what needles have I actually got to use.
Right.
Can I just say hello to Vil?
Oh, who?
Oh, hi, Vil. She's over in Holland, over in Hengelo.
Nice to see you.
Sorry, Em.
No, I was just going to say I've also moved away from. I did buy a full set of the interchangeables.
Right.
Spent a lot of money on them, and I do still use them because they are handy. That you can just take the tips off, put some stitch blockers on, and reuse your tips for something else. But I've got quite a few of these. These are higher sharps, and I absolutely love them. I got sick of the other ones just keep undoing themselves, and no matter how much I tried to tighten them up, they kept working their way up loose again, and then you'd end up snagging your stitches on them and things.
So is that a fixed circular?
So this is a fixed circular, and I just go with the longest one. I've got most size tips in 40, 60 and 80 centimeters, I think they are. Right. But I tend to use the longest one and just magic loop them. Or just, if I'm using them flat, they just dangle forever.
Yeah.
I get myself in a tiz with them. But I really like, when I first started, it was the bamboos. And then I went on to the Knit Pro, are they symphonies? I'm not quite
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you say them. And I loved those. But then metal, I've gone on to metal, and I just love the metal.
Yeah, I must admit, some of the ones I like the best, my favourites, and I'm using them on my Daylin sweater at the moment, which is using some Malabrigo Rios in the colour Archangel. That one is an Addy fixed circular. And I do like the metals. I like the slip. But for something like this, where I'm sat with a straight, I generally want bamboo for a straight needle or wood, because I don't want to accidentally pull them out if I'm moving around. But I do find it
stitches, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Helen says, I'm a circular girl too. Usually put myself, if I try straights, I should try tucking them in my armpits. I recommend a bit of armpit knitting. It makes life much easier.
Bit of anchorage.
What's Tanya got to say? The only interchangeable I don't unscrew are my Addies, but she still loves the others as well. So our Addies are obviously better interchangeables. I think I've got about 4 or 5 sets of Knit Pro. Might have a needle problem as well as the yarn problem.
Life's too short to worry about it. Just buy all the needles, buy all the wool.
And I've got a load of higher bamboo 40 centimetre ones in about 6 sizes for hats.
Yeah, 40 centimetres good for your hat size.
Yeah, Helen Gibson says she's a circular girl because she loses straights when she puts them down. So yeah, they're very often in the back of my sofa.
Yeah, or in between the two cushions.
You know, or one is.
Yeah. Where did I put that? I lost the packet for one of my circular needles for weeks. Couldn't find it. No idea where it was. I had all my bags out. I've got hundreds of project bags. I'm looking under the bed. I'm looking under the sofa. And it was literally in between the seats. Just found it this morning when I was cleaning.
Bless.
So I'm glad I solved that mystery. I was getting a bit frustrated. I was thinking, what have I done? Where on
I'm
earth
not
could it be?
surprised. Sorry, I'm looking confused. It's because I've got 5 pearl stitches on the front of the work and I'm thinking I can't count.
Oh no!
I should only have 4.
I'm having to make sure I remember to mark all my rounds because otherwise I'll forget to increase. Easy done while you're talking.
It is one of the best things I've got for that. You know the little swim counters? I've probably got one on the desk if anybody would like to look. But it's like a little watch strap and it goes around your finger and you use it for swimming.
Yeah.
And you put a little and so of course you do a length in the bath and then you click and then back and click and back and click. And I've got several of those from when I used to swim a lot. And they're brilliant for row counters because it's just on your hands. So you knit, 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 touch, knit, 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 touch, knit, 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 touch. And you're not having to worry about. And because in our house, I'm the only one that buys decent pens.
Yeah.
Everybody else loves to use the good pens but doesn't like to pay for them. And then when I come to write something, I've got dead pens because everyone else. So it's always the thing of if I can do anything to avoid having to write stuff down, where I can either just put it onto my Ravelry project page, perhaps, or use the little swim counter. If anybody would like to see that, just let me know. What's Phil saying? Phil says I use straights and circulars, and she's got too many WIPs, the same as I have. Tanya says that hubby found a stitch marker in the washing machine. Well, at least it didn't end up in the bin and it didn't clog up the washer. So
well, there you go,
yeah. It's funny, but I'm actually terrible with stitch markers. I go through lots of them, and because I've always got 1,000,001 projects, Bill will completely relate to this, where there's tons of stuff hidden around the house where I'm partly working on this and I'm still mulling over what to do with that, and maybe I haven't dug out the rest of the yarn to do the next bit, but there will be loads of markers. And I actually cheated excuse me, last year I went onto eBay and searched for bra fixings, and I found some little round circular white stitch markers. You can get them in about 10 different colours. They are so cheap.
Wow.
Arrive in an envelope, and I buy 400 or 500 at a time and put them into a tin next to where I work. And I just reach in and grab a handful as I need the markers. And then I have the fancy or pretty stitch markers for my beginning of round, end of round, or special bits. If I've got a cable in the centre of a sleeve or something that I'm working flat and I want to denote that bit, then I'll use one of the special markers. But generally I'll just use these little white bra rings, and it's the bit that attaches the strap to the cup of your bra. It's just that little circle.
That's amazing. Never thought about that.
I would love to take credit for it, but someone else actually advertised bra fixings as stitch markers not on eBay, and I was looking for a bra fixing to sort out a problem with a bra where I'd damaged the strap, and then I'd managed to put a little tiny crack into the circular piece, and I wanted to replace that. Oh, Helen Gibson says she normally just uses scraps of leftover yarn. Well, there you are, see, you're saving the planet and I'm determined to kill it.
With all your plastic.
Yeah, all my plastic.
I have some favourite stitch markers. I used to buy my wool from Brit Yarn. She's moved up to Scotland now, so she's not trading anymore. But every time I bought some wool from her, and it was always she only ever sold British wool. She always used to put a little stitch marker in as a little thank you, and that's what I'm using here. And I've got quite a collection of them. I won't tell you exactly how many of them I have, because
No.
that would reveal how much wool I have. But I really, really love those stitch markers. They're definitely my favourites.
Yeah.
It's funny how you can have loads and loads and loads of stuff, and you go back to using the same few over and over and over again, don't you? The same needles, the same stitch markers, the same wool.
Yeah, you're bound to get favourites though, because it's either very comfortable to knit with or work with, isn't it?
Yeah, you know what you're doing.
Where are we at now? So, can you see that?
Oh yeah, coming along lovely. You must be getting close to the end.
Little bit left, little bit left. Keep looking at it and thinking, only need a couple of armfuls for the graft.
My Arthur's been a very naughty boy, and he's taking advantage of the fact that I'm busy, and he's actually jumped on the sofa that he's not allowed on.
Oh.
And he's sitting here next to me with his ball, and he knows he's not allowed on my sofa. He knows he's got his own one over there. It's like having naughty children taking advantage, isn't it?
Oh, Mocha and Coco are sat over there sighing loudly periodically, and because
So
they're obviously
neglectful, aren't you?
underfed, unloved. Nobody talks to them, plays with them, takes them anywhere, or any of that. And I don't feed them at
Oh
all.
God, no,
At
no.
least that's what they tell everybody that visits. I
Well,
am going to have to treat them this week. I buy the single duvets from Asda's and then just fold them over in half and then have 2 layers of those
yeah,
and wrestle them into a single duvet cover
yeah,
that then goes into the dog bed. And I've just realised that with these two, there is no point even trying to wash any of that stuff. It's just get to the point where I really can't stand to have it in the house anymore, and then and then buy some new ones, because I think I would just trash my washing machine if I tried. But I did see, I can't remember, maybe B&M Bargains or somewhere like that, there was a product that was for absorbing dog hair out of your washer.
Oh, that's
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I just wipe the inside of the washer out and get a rinse on a hot wash and check the rubber seal to make sure there's no flaggy or manky bits in there. I don't know that I need to spend sort of £6 or £7 on a product to rot dog hair. I'd be worried about what it was going to do to the seals on my washer.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm not really convinced of that.
No, no, I'm not convinced. Not heard of one before, but I suppose some people would jump on it. Well, Arthur's been on his diet all week, bless him, and I think he's very hungry because at lunchtime I was making mashed potato, and when I was chopping up the raw potatoes to put in the saucepan to boil, I dropped one on the floor and he grabbed it and he ran and he ate the whole raw potato. He must be starving.
Oh, bless.
You are evil humans, you don't feed me.
You are horrible. Poor neglected boy.
I know. So evil.
Oh, I've got someone coming over to just chance it. Hello.
Oh, yeah. Were you talking about dogs and food by any chance? Did you want
Might
me
have
to
mentioned
come
it.
over?
It's amazing how sit and stay and no seem to be really hard to understand.
Yeah.
And yet words like sausage, chocolate biscuit, cookie, cake. See,
Walk.
one's just leapt up now at
Yeah.
the mere mention of lots of people food words that they're not allowed.
Should we not mention steak? You know.
Yeah,
Burgers.
yeah, sausages is the thing, and bacon is one of theirs as well. That's
Oh,
part of their food vocabulary. Helen Gibson says Gilly wants a bonio. He was in disgrace a couple of days ago as he took her yarn support yarn off the sofa. Two balls. She has an alternative, and luckily no damage done. That was so close, isn't it? So thankfully she
naughty
wasn't
Gilly.
planning to use these two. They were an alternative yarn, but they're fine.
Naughty, naughty doggies.
Isn't that just typical? Oh, bless. He just wants to let you know that he's more important than the yarn.
I mean, at the end of the day, we do give our yarn a lot of attention and they just want in on the action, I suppose.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and I do let mine think that they are more important than the yarn. I'll let you decide whether they are.
Sometimes. Mornings, definitely. Evenings, no.
No.
Evenings are when dogs should be laid down and leaving me in peace so that I can get lots of yarny time.
Awesome. So what's everybody watching tonight? Have you got the TV on? Have you been on Netflix, or have you got any binge watching you can recommend?
Yeah, binge watching, definitely.
Oh, Helen says it's okay. She's got on alternate balls for these.
That's okay.
The ones that Gilly inspected for quality control purposes.
Well, that's all he was doing. I mean, I don't
All right. So
understand
she's
why
got to
everyone.
alternate the balls. Sorry.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. I don't know. Everyone's getting all hot under the collar. He was just making sure it was all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about anybody else. I've been watching Vera at the moment, binge watching that. I'm on to series 3. I have seen them all before, but periodically we have to have a little look from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Finished. What was I watching before? Doc Martin.
Oh, you do like that, yeah.
I do like a bit of Doc Martin, but I finished that, watched them all. So it's had to move on to Vera. I'm on BritBox at the moment. But you have to watch it on your laptop because there's no app for it on the telly, which is a bit annoying.
Yeah, I'm not using our telly at the moment because it. Bill says she's going to watch a few DVDs from DL and Pasco. Oh, very good.
Oh, I like DL and Pasco. I haven't watched those in a long time though.
Oh, and Helen says that the two balls were attached to the shawl she's working on. It's even naughtier, isn't it?
Well, what she should have done was taken a video. Helen, you should have taken a nice video of the chaos and we could have had a bit of a laugh about it. That would have been funny.
That we could have laughed with you.
Yeah. Sorry. We could have sympathised. Sorry, that was the correct word.
In a giggling way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been Netflixing.
Watching Henry. Any Henry?
I did watch again The Witcher because we like our Henry Cavill, and I did watch a film with him in the other day. I think it might have been called Immortals or something like that.
Right.
And I have to say that was just dire and dreadful, and I hope he got paid lots of money for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an hour and a half I won't get back, but
it's finest
fluff, historical attempts or mythical fluff in the background. It was okay.
He was in the Tudors, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I really liked him in that. I'm sure I remembered the character that he was. One of the Duke of Stafford or something like that, wasn't he?
Oh, I can't remember now. It's a while since I've watched it. I did watch The Two Popes the other week, which I thought, am I going to enjoy this? Is it going to be any good? But actually, it was.
Was that Jonathan Pryce and
Anthony Hopkins?
That's him, yeah. Because I did see an interview with them and they were joking because Jonathan Pryce got dressing room number 1.
Yeah.
And apparently Anthony Hopkins emails him now and he signs off number 2 or something as a bit of an in-joke.
Yeah, Sir number 2 or something like that, because he's got the knighthood and the other one hasn't. Which I thought was brilliant.
So you could be Dame number one, and I'll be what's less than a dame, like a marchess or something. Is that? Should I be number two? I'll have dressing room.
Marchioness. Oh, possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Jumping
Helen says Michael Portillo's train journey's just finished. Helen Curzon says something about Suffolk. Is that where Michael Portillo's been?
Maybe.
Helen Gips is laughing with me about Immortals, saying that was the awful Gods film. We switched that off.
Oh, she didn't even watch it all.
Yeah, and Tanya says she's watching Dancing with the Stars. Starts tonight with hubby. And hubby won't be around, so she'll be able to knit and enjoy the dances.
Is that the American version of Strictly?
Yeah.
Right. I don't watch it either.
Yeah, I haven't watched Strictly for a very long time. Oh, that's Jake coming through. Hello, Jake.
Oh, hello, Jake.
Hi.
Is he still nice and clean shaven?
He is. He's had his hair cut. I'll see if he'll come and say hello. Not least because the last time I saw Vil in person over in Holland. Oh, Helen Curzon says Duke of Suffolk was Henry Cavill. So this is Jake. This is my baby. That's Emma.
That's the biggest baby I've seen. He must be about 6 foot.
What are you like? 6'3" now. His dad was 6'4.5". He's shrunk a little bit over the years. Yeah. Oh, and Helen's correcting. She's saying Duke of Suffolk in the Tudors. So
right. I thought he was something like that.
The Duke of something. I probably hadn't even paid attention to that. I'll have been looking at his legs. So
in the tights. Yeah.
Oh, Jake. Bill says it's lovely to see you from over in Holland. He sends his best wishes.
Mine are staying well clear.
No, it's easier, isn't it?
Yeah.
The dogs now diverted their attention to the kitchen. Because Jake might be doing something with food. Oh, Helen says you look lovely, Jake. There you are. You've got a fan. He says that's what they all say about him.
Yeah.
Modest as well.
I can see it. I really can.
Yeah. So I'm down to this much yarn now.
Right.
And I'm at that stage where I've finished a pattern repeat. So I think what I'm going to do is call it quits at that and graft.
So yeah, I think it's time. Are you gonna?
Oh, I'll have to tell him that, Helen. She says Jake's lovely, not the Duke of Suffolk.
Oh.
He's in the kitchen and he's shut the door. He can't hear now. I think the Duke of Suffolk was lovely.
I thought both, personally.
I would be biased about Jake.
Well, of course. Yeah.
He's celebrating his anniversary with his girlfriend Rosie. They've been together since they were 15, and it's 4 years on the 29th of this month.
Wow.
I know.
Young love.
I know. I wonder at times how they cope with one another, but they seem very well suited. Oh, good. Has anybody got any last questions or anything they would like to share with us?
It's getting near my bedtime.
Oh, I might manage to stay up till about 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock? Oof.
Oh, big shout out to Janie. Hello, Janie. Lovely to see you. Janie's was our corset lady.
Oh.
So, yeah, she had this fantastic boutique. She's a counsellor now.
Right.
Doing great work up on the West Coast and fighting the good fight, which I'm always proud to see her do. But her website was the one where everybody in the office wanted to help with it because it was lots of pictures of corseted ladies.
I wonder why that was.
Yeah, no one ever wanted to help me with the motorbike ones or cogs and gears and sumps and things like that. They were never ever interested in, but there were always lots of volunteers to work on Janie's site.
I honestly don't know why.
Yeah, but and Jenny used to put on the most amazing fashion shows as well. At Whitehaven, yeah, by the harbour, which is really pretty.
Is
A
it?
lot of regeneration, so yeah, really good.
Mm.
So yeah, I think I'll craft my cowl later on this evening. I don't know, do I cheat and just do a standard stockinette graft, or do I do the stockinette garter to stockinette garter and follow the pattern graft?
Personally, I would go for the easy option, but you know, I'm all for the easy option, mate. I'd be doing a 3-needle bind off, I think, rather than a graft. Super lazy over here.
Oh, bless. No, I quite like the idea of having a go with the garter graft, just to see the difference and see if it's nicer. Michelle Ianson says, finish the hat using magic loop. Thank you, ladies. Well done.
That's Elaine's Scottish run. She's test knitting for me.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, will you post some photographs of that once it's all the ends are woven? I'd really love to see that.
Looking forward to it.
Oh, brilliant. Well done.
Yay.
It's always good when someone tries something new, isn't it? And just
And Michelle's not been knitting too long as well, and she's doing brilliantly. She's knitting jumpers and all sorts in a really, really short time. She's doing fab.
All right, that's excellent.
Yeah.
Vil is quite an experienced knitter, and if you get a chance to check out her colour work on Ravelry, she's done some really complex stuff. Seriously impressive.
Yeah.
And she picks some of the hardest patterns where sometimes I skulk away into the corner and think, yeah, maybe in about 10 years.
It's good to have goals.
It is, and I do like to challenge myself and try something new. That's why I'm determined to have a go with the mixed stockinette and garter graft, because I just think that would finish it off a little bit more neatly.
Yeah, I think you should.
Yeah, should have a go.
Yeah.
Right, well, I don't think we've got any more questions. I think we're finished for the evening. Thanks everyone for joining us. That was really lovely.
Yeah, I had a great time.
So thank you very much for me. I'm Lorraine from Woolly Madly Deeply, and
Emma from Emma Sadler Designs. Lovely to see you all.
Yeah, we'll be back again. I don't know how often we're planning to do the Facebook Lives. That might be once every couple of weeks, and we've got YouTube in between. And usually on a Friday morning, we get together and have a little bit of a Zoom chat and talk technical stuff, don't we?
Yes.
Vil says if anybody would like to look at her project, that her Ravelry name is Gilden. That's Gilden. Emma's just scribbling that down, Vil.
Yeah, I've written that down because I'm going to go and have a look at those.
Oh, and she says she loves complicated patterns. She's knitting Lindisfarne, Lucy Haig. Oh, who does the really complex cables. I can't wait to see that, Vil.
Yeah.
Helen Curzon says, could we come back with some colour work tips next time? Yeah, absolutely. I might have accidentally, you know, that Ravelry auto cart thing where you think I really want that pattern right now, and it just buys it behind your back and it appears in the library, and you think, how did that happen? I bought Andrea Mowry, is it Moonwake Cowl? It's the colour work loop.
Oh, is that the newest one?
It is.
Yeah.
It's her newest cowl.
Right now, wasn't it?
It was a couple of days ago, and just by accident, and I've picked some autumn colours, and I might have cast that on.
Was it really by accident, Lorraine?
Do you know, I think it was a Ravelry PayPal issue.
Oh, right. Okay. Can I use that excuse in future?
So Helen Gibson says, no going back after Magic Loop. So there you are, Michelle. You're stuck with Magic Loop now.
Yeah.
So everyone's saying wave bye-bye, and thank you both. Lovely to see us. So thanks, everyone. We're going to disappear now. We'll see you next time. Any colourwork questions for us next time? And
right.
thanks ever so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.